Welcome to part 9 of my story podcast, guys. We have made a paper about what Amfragan should do. Now, yes, I did write it by ChatGPT, but it's for ideas. Alright. You've got a solid mytho historical backbone here. What you're really asking is not how to win a war, but how does a ruler prevent extinction without becoming the villain of history? So, this is what Amfragan should do. Amfragan cannot rely on brute force or final purge alone. If he does, Solcaveros survives physically, but collapses morally and politically, I think. To truly save its fate, he must divide risk, time, and power. Amfragan is hoping to end the war in 2,000 casts. But since the hunters are getting smarter and in groups and they can hunt down a whole 6-meter tall dragonkin, he might end it in 2,500 casts, but they're hoping to do it in 2,000 casts. Amfragan was also thinking of sending out the Godolkin, who are the 8 powerful Godolkin that rule each of the 8 kingdoms on the one land of Solcaveros. But if the hunters can kill a whole dragonkin, they could probably kill a Godolkin. And if the hunters get in hold of a tailed beast, the hunters could use the tailed beast against the king. So, delay the war's end on purpose. Instead of rushing toward total victory, Amfragan should slow the conflict strategically, prevent hunters from adapting too quickly, buys time for dragonkin repopulations to recover, and avoids forcing the Godolkin into becoming executioners. This turns the war from a sprint into controlled containment. 4. Decentralize the tailed beasts. The greatest threat is a hunter obtaining a tailed beast, or the king of the hunters, if that's possible, of getting the tailed beast. That risk is accidental. Seal each tailed beast behind layer of containment, not just hosts. Rotate guardianship unpredictably. Ensure no single failure equals total collapse. If one host falls, the system survives. Use the Godolkins as stewards, not weapons. Setting them to wipe out the hunters guarantees rebellion, fracture, or betrayal. Instead, assign each Godolkin to stabilize one kingdom. So, let's say Inferno to protect the Fire Kingdom, Wave to protect the Water Kingdom, all that. Make them symbols of order, not extinction. Keep them separate so no single force can be hijacked. This prevents a single catastrophic loss. Create a controlled truth. Erase the hunter's greatest advantage, ignorance. Spread false maps of tailed beast locations. Introduce conflicting legends about their nature. Seed misinformation that turns hunters against one another. A smarter enemy can still be missiled. 5. Prepare for the worst case. Amfragan must plan for failure quietly. Develop a last resort seal that will remove the tailed beast from the world entirely. Keep this knowledge restricted to one successor. Never tell the Godolkin unless absolutely necessary. Hope survives best when desperation is contained. So, here is a cinematic conflict paragraph. Amfragan understood that none of his generals dared to say aloud the war could not be won clearly. Every victory sharpened the hunters, every loss taught them restraint. Intelligence reports confirmed what instinct already knew. So basically what this is saying is that Amfragan understands what none of the council says to aloud, that the war might not be won, but if they plan strategically and they try to mess with the hunters as best they can. Here's the thing though, Kago is still alive. So, since he created a dragonkin, he can make dragonkin that can go against the other dragonkin. So, that is kind of what I'm thinking about. That's my idea. If you guys have any ideas comment on this video if you can. If you guys have any great ideas on how Ant Dragon should win this war. When recap, here it is. Dragonkin, half dragon, half human creatures versus human hunters. These human hunters want to hunt the Dragonkin and kill him off, but the Dragonkin are trying to fight back. If the hunters get their hands on a tailed beast, which is one of the big beasts that is sealed inside the Godolkin, which they're called Godwell because they're served as gods, who found each of the kingdom in the land. If the tailed beasts get into the hunter's hands, it could mean failure. It could mean that Solgaverus could be in the greatest danger it could ever have been. The Dragonkin have faced other things like this, like natural events, or stuff like this, or other wars, during the 1,800 cast they've been living in so far. But the hunters are the worst threat. The hunters are very strong, and they're very intelligent, as you know humans are. So, the Dragonkin must work as hard as they can to try to defeat them. You know. And it's hard to do that, because there's so many hunters. Here's the thing, though. There is one thing that is stopping them from getting the upper hand, and it's Sylva. She has seen and overheard the name of the leader of all the hunters, but she doesn't tell anybody. They've been trying to lure her to tell somebody, or try to lure her to tell the council or the king, but she is not telling anybody the valuable information they need to beat this war. Now, of course, they're not going to force her to say it. But she knows the king of the hunters' plan, and who the king of the hunters are. And even if there is a king, there might be not. Hunters are not well known because they keep moving their camps all over Solgaverus. So yeah, that's kind of mostly we got so far here. Not too much, as you can see. So, yeah. That's kind of what we got so far. If you guys have any ideas you guys want to tell me, or anything, like any OC ideas or anything like that, just comment on the video and I'll try to make it an OC. Later.